All right, Station's Coach Williams is here, so the press conference is going to begin.
Thought you'd be dead by now.
Well, that's what Art said. Buford asked that. When I was doing the game at Baker's, and I thought he was dead.
Yeah, but that might have been 30 years ago that he said that to you. It's good to see you. Good to see you.
As you take a look and walked in Allen Field, I thought, tell me about 3 or 4 magical moments for you.
Oh, man. I came last night. I spoke at the Iowa State High School Coaches Clinic last night, and then came down here, stayed at the Oriad, which wasn't even here, and enjoyed going up on top and looking around campus. And this morning sneaked out and drove around town a little bit and drove around campus. And then this afternoon when I came down, I came out in front of Wagner and got out. C.B. McGrath let me out, and I just walked in the field house, because I haven't been in the field house since the last practice before the Final Four in 2003, and it was a nice feeling. I mean, it really was a nice feeling. It's a wonderful place. I've always said it's in my opinion, the greatest home court advantage, and it's because of 2 things. Of course, it's because of the fans, but the Fog and Doc Allen, and we're not Irish. We don't have those kind of things hanging around, but there's something hanging around in there that's really unique that no one else has. And so for me, going in the field house always was a thrill. It was a thrill going in there today, and I just, be honest with you, I wish nobody else had been in there. I could have just stood in there a little while and looked around, and it would have been a neat experience for me.
You didn't jog out to the cemeteries?
No. When I was here, I used to sprint, and then I jogged, and then we jogged and walked, and now I just walk. That's all it is right now. It's just a walk.
Coach, when you look at the overall landscape of this program, you've obviously played a big role. 418 wins, I think 4 Final Fours, 2 championship games, and conference title after conference title. When you heard about this, can you just talk about what your emotions were like, and maybe what it was like when you touched down and it kind of all came together?
Well, my emotions at the start, boy, that's a neat idea, because it's such a wonderful location. I mean, it's the best. I mean, it really is. And so I had a wonderful feeling and thought about that. I haven't been back, like I said, since the last practice before the 2003. My daughter stayed here another year, and I came back the year after my first year in North Carolina and helped her pack up and move back like dads do. But I haven't been here other than that, and it brought back some wonderful memories. There was some people mad at me, and I was hurt, and they were hurt, and the whole bit. And so those memories came up a little bit too. And so I got up at 4 o'clock this morning and just thought about what it might feel like and what I might say, and hope that I didn't mess it up for everybody else. But 60 years in one building, and everybody's in an arms race in college athletics, trying to plow one field and put one up before the next one gets up beside it, kind of thing. But no, I just have great memories. I really do. And I was able to spend some time this afternoon with some great friends, and this is pretty neat. My wife has been struggling health-wise a little bit recently, or she would have been able to come. And it was 15 years, and I've said it this way, and I really believe it. For 15 years, I gave my heart, my body, and soul, and I loved it.
How would you like your coaching career to be remembered?
I wish we'd won one more game on a Monday night, on a couple occasions. There's no question right there. But just, I think in coaching, you don't think about that a lot. As you get older, you think a little bit more about it. But when I was here, I never thought of that. I thought I was going to coach another 100 years. But for me, it's about people, the relationships with my players. I hope I will be remembered as a guy who could coach a little bit, but really cared about the players and really cared about the school that he represented and really cared about the game. And I had great mentors, including Larry Brown, who was here. But Coach Smith was the best I think I've ever known. And he was far better off the court than he was on. And so, the coaching part of it is something that I care about. But when I come out of the hotel and there I see Eric Chenoweth, and then I see Greg Gurley and Patrick Ritchie, and all of them's bodies look exactly like it did when they played for me, And be sure and tell him, because I want Greg to know I did say one good thing about him. But those relationships are more important than anything.
Hey, when you got the phone call to come back and take part in this, was there ever any hesitation at all, or was this an easy call to come back to?
You know, it was Bill, and I think Bill handled it so well. I mean, he's made me feel so good and relieve any hesitancy whatsoever. But gosh, I think it was Las Vegas. But he said, I want a chance to talk to you for a second. I said, fine. And we sat down. I think it was during the summer recruiting period. And I think we were in Las Vegas, and we sat there, and he told me about it. And I think he'd probably say the same thing. I said, I'm in. Just tell me what you got to do and tell me what I've got to do. And the date will be the most important thing. And so it worked out, and my team loved it because we practiced at 8 o'clock yesterday morning, and then they had the day off. So they got rid of me.
Did you ever think about over the years that when you might come back and have a chance to prepare for that, or talk to anybody who's been in your shoes like this before? Or?
No, I always worried, to be honest with you, about coming back. I really did, and because I loved the place. I mean, I had a guy in an airport, it was the neatest deal. He came walking by and he said, "Rock Chalk Jayhawk," and I said, "Go KU." And he walked on down about 2 or 3 gates down, and he came back and he said, "Coach," he said, "I'm a Kansas fan." I said, "So am I." And he said, "Coach, I'm really struggling with what to say next." And I said, I was there for 15 years, and I loved the place. And a few minutes later, he came back, and he had some time to think of what to say, I guess. But we had a nice conversation. But it was something that was a thrill for me because it is important to me. But there was some hesitancy there. It was some good friends that have really been fantastic. But when people put your picture over the commode, it's not the best feeling in the world.
Roy, when you almost didn't go the first time, how important was it that you wanted to come back for Collison, Heinrich, and people like that? Was that a factor?
Well, to be honest with you, that was the factor. I told Nick Collison I would be here for his career. And I know that sounds corny and all this crap, but that's me. And I never could. I told Wanda when I went and stayed at North Carolina for that 36 hours the first time, and I said, let's go walk on campus and see if the Davy Poplar will fall or something like that, would tell me it's okay to break my word to Nick, and Davy Poplar didn't fall. And so I just couldn't do it. And then 3 years later, I was stunned that it was back there again, but I felt like my situation had changed a great deal at that time. But and I know that's corny, but that's what it was. I just never could come to grips about what I'd promised Nick.
Coach, I think the last game you coached here, I think it was against Oklahoma State. Anything stand out about that game, or anything that you reflect back on?
2 things. One, that I hope that those people in the stands realize what they had with Nick and Kirk. That was really big because those were 2 quality people, young men. They were going to be great adults. They were great people every second of the day, and big-time basketball players. And so I hope our fans, I remember that night feeling that I hoped our fans really appreciated what they had done for 4 years. And then the other thing, I thought it was a very nice gesture by Eddie Sutton to run down to our bench and shake hands with them and said, I hope I didn't bother you. And I said, no. And as he's going back, I said, if they call it technical, it's going to be fun. Because I was going to run down to his bench and get another technical, and that kind of thing.
What did you think of all the new facilities here?
It's just blown away. I mean, it is so fantastic what they've done. I mean, when I was here for 15 years and we changed the locker room 3 times in 15 years, but we were still light years away from where they are now. And the amount of money and the effort and the love that people have for this program allows this kind of thing to be done. I mean, there's some dollars when you're digging the dirt. And, and I'm looking out, Greg said it looked like a prison, and I said, yeah, with all the fencing up everywhere. But, no, I think it's just sensational. And, whether we like to admit it or not, there is a little bit of an arms race out there. And but Kansas basketball deserves the best.
A couple more questions.
Roy, during the season, do you still find yourself maybe looking at the KU box score now and then, see how they're doing, or are you just too busy with Carolina?
There's never a day goes by that I don't know where they won. Not a single day. I know where they won or lost the night before.
In your mind, Allen Fieldhouse has the best home court advantage. Was there a time when you coached, when you stood there on the floor and said, Allen Fieldhouse just can't get any better than this? a game or something that stands out?
Did I finish answering yours? Okay. I remember I was going to say something about this tonight at the banquet, so you're stealing one of my lines, okay? I remember sitting on the bench and Oklahoma's on the free throw line with 2 free throws, and I think we're up, 2, I'm not sure. I said, there's no way he's making these free throws. The crowd won't let him. It's the only time I've ever made any statement like that, but brick.
You mentioned earlier about the people that were mad when you left. Does it make tonight a little easier because you played the games, the North Carolina KU games, and kind of got all that?
Time heals wounds. It really does, and I think that you can't change somebody's opinion, but over time people understand things better. And for the last 2 years I was here, it was. I would loved it when I was on the court with my players, but that's about the only time that it was really that kind of fun. And but no, it's this is a special place, guys. I mean, I walked in that field house, and that was neat, because I remember the first night I walked in that field house at Late Night with Roy, and that's pretty neat feelings.
Can you talk about 89 and 90 when you brought this team out of obscurity and some of the best shooting teams in our history, kind of shocked the country, the great run in the preseason NIT and then the run at the tournament the next year?
It was, I'll get that one too. It was a neat feeling. I walked through the field house and Kevin Pritchard comes out and says, Coach, they picked us 8th. I said, what do you mean 8th? He said, Inside Sports picked us 8th. There's only 8 teams in the Big 8. And I remember that like it was yesterday. And I said, that's all right, son. We're going to be pretty doggone good. And we were going over to the track because, we had a pretty significant running program. And that was such a great passing team and a great shooting team. And we convinced them not to be concerned about what anybody else thought. And we did get off to a great start. It's still the highest scoring team I've ever coached, 92 points a game. Probably the best shooting team I've ever coached. Got unfortunate that Gerald Madkins from UCLA threw one up at the end of the shot clock that went in down in Atlanta. We lose in the second round. But just quality people. I mean, Kevin Pritchard, Jeff Gallner, Rick Callaway, Mark Randall, Mike Mattis, Pekka. I mean, that was a fun team to coach, and they took coaching. They really did. They wanted to be really, really good. So that was a wonderful time for me as a coach with those guys, too. And Bob Frederick, did you say what are my thoughts?
He meant to you.
He was a mentor, no question about that. But I really believe that Bob Frederick was the finest gentleman I've ever known in my life. And, he talked all the time about treating people with respect and dignity. And that's the way Bob treated everybody. And he gave me a chance. There's a big portion of me feeling that appreciation too, but just the finest gentleman I've ever known.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.